Use steel RHS 25mm by 25mm and wall thickness between 1.5 and 2.5mm. Cut the steel to the following lengths: 840, 240, 150 and 200mm. Remove the sharp burrs using a bench grinder. From the top of the stand upright, measure and punch 60mm down, then a further 120mm down, and then a further 120mm down. Use a 6.5mm drill to go through all three holes. The stand base will be welded together like this. I'm going to use a jig to hold the material securely during welding. The jig is made up from a 17mm thick piece of plywood and 3 lengths of 20 by 20mm section. Grind off the paint to leave a clean surface for welding. Place the 200mm section in the jig and clamp the 840mm section into the jig with the holes facing you. Measure 40mm between the end of the shorter section and the upright, and then clamp it in place. Weld the sections together using a MIG welder. It should look like this. Turn it over and weld the other side in the same way. Center the top of the T-section for the base and then clamp it down. Locate and clamp down the upright section into the jig. Weld the sections together here. The jig can't be used for the final weld, so remove it from the jig, turn it upside down and clamp it to the welding table. Tidy up the welded areas using an angle grinder. For the gantry arm, we're using aluminium flat bar, 32mm wide and 3mm thick. Cut 2 lengths at 480mm. Use dividers to mark on a center line and a center point for an end radius. Center punch the end radius. Use the dividers to score the half circle. Score a center line down the flat bar. Measure 60mm down from the center point and an additional 60mm down from that. Mark a radius on the opposite end using the same technique. Cut most of the waste off, that will make filing to the radius much quicker. File down to the radius or use a bench mounted disc or belt sander. Use a 6.5mm drill bit for all of the holes. Use an oversized drill to remove the sharp burrs. On the second piece of flat bar used to make the arm, just drill one hole and then bolt the two bits of flat bar together. This is the simplest way to make sure the holes are perfectly lined up. Make the plate from aluminium flat bar, 50 mm wide by 3 mm thick by 150 mm long. Score a 12 mm line from each end. Find the middle point and center punch. Measure and mark a line down the center of the plate. Measure in 12 mm from both edges of the plate. Center punch all the marks. Mark 12 mm from the end of the square tube and center punch the mark. For accuracy, use dividers to transfer the distance between the two centers. Drill the two holes down the center, diameter 5 mm. Change the drill to 6.5 mm and drill each end hole. Change the drill to diameter 4 mm. Drill through the top of the square tube, but don't go right through this time. Thread the holes using an M5 tap. Lightly sand and clean the steel and then coat using an aerosol spray. These are all the pieces required to assemble the gantry unit. You'll need the main stand, the two gantry arms, 3 plastic feet, 3 plastic inserts, 4 penny washers, the plate post, the camera plate, 2 6 mm diameter by 45 mm length quick release seat pillar pins available from most bicycle shops, 2 M5 machine screws, 1/4 inch threaded bar, approximately 30 mm long, and 1/4 inch threaded wing nut. All the plastic feet and inserts are a push fit and will go in relatively easily. Push the end caps in. You can use a rubber mallet if they're a little bit tight. To assemble all the parts, use an F-clamp to hold the base to a table. Put the threaded end of the cam locking pin through the first gantry arm and then put a penny washer between the arm and the upright. Put a second washer on, followed by the other gantry arm and then the locking nut. Follow the same process to attach the camera seat plate. All cameras have a 1/4 inch BSW threaded hole in the bottom. Use the threaded rod in the bottom of the camera, push through the hole and fix with the wing nut onto the plate. Here's a quick review of the dimensions needed to manufacture the gantry stand. From the top of the pillar, 60mm down is the first hole, a further 120 for the second and a further 120 for the third. All 3 holes are diameter 6.5mm. The base is made from 2 lengths of steel arranged in a T shape. The first is 240mm long, the second is 200mm long. The distance between the upright pillar and the top is 40mm. Gantry arms are made of 32 by 3mm bar. It has 4 holes in it. Measured from one end, there are 3 holes, each 60mm apart. All 4 holes are diameter 6.5mm. The camera plate is made of a 50mm by 3mm flat bar. The hole on either side is 12mm in and located in the center, diameter 6.5mm. The 2 holes down the center line are 12mm in from the edge and are both 5mm in diameter. The camera plate post is made of 25mm square steel. From one end, 12mm down is the first hole and 26mm down the second. These holes are diameter 4mm. If we rotate the tube 90 degrees, there's another hole 20mm down, diameter 6.5mm. If you need further assistance, you can use the contact given on the StudyBox website. The gantry system has been specifically designed to enable overhead filming. However, it's a very versatile piece of equipment. It can be used to replace a tripod, and also it can be used to film difficult, more challenging situations such as experiments.